Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I wanted to take a second to introduce myself. If you're not new here and you're currently subscribed, please allow me to just reintroduce myself to you. My name is Hannah. I am a fashion and lifestyle blogger that has recently started to really focus on YouTube. If you're currently subscribed, you may have seen that I do a lot of fashion and beauty and lifestyle content, and we're all about gearing to become a better version of ourselves, living a more intentional lifestyle. Now, the core of this channel is not going to change. That is still our focus. However, I recently rebranded myself to be my full name, which is Hannah Aileen McDonnell. And the reason that I did this is because I realized that there was a hole and a gap missing in my content. I wanted to bring you more content where we could work on our whole personhood, where we could, of course, still talk about the frivolous and fun things like fashion and beauty and lifestyle, but also work on those deeper inner parts of ourselves as well and truly work on the soul. So I'm actually introducing a brand new series to my channel called Self-Care for the Soul, where we are going to be talking about some other kind of like taboo topics like happiness and success, silence, and a lot of other just more personal topics so that we can work not only on bettering our life and living a more intentional lifestyle with our cute homes and our fun outfits, but also just who we are as people. So I am super excited to be bringing this series with you. I plan on making it a regular thing once a week or every 2 weeks. But let's jump into today's video, the very first episode of this brand new series, and it is called The Power of Silence. So if you have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or something, just grab it because I want these things to be a little bit more conversational. So I'm gonna take a sip of my tea, go grab one if you need to. You can pause the video, I'll wait for you. Okay, so today's topic is about silence, and you might find this to be a really strange place to start. But to me, it's actually the most important part to start. Now, with the state of the world, I'm sure a lot of us have been feeling really anxious and stressed and just maybe lost. I know for me, this really caused a lot of my life to be uprooted. It got me reflecting and thinking, and there was a time where I just honestly felt depressed. I was going through a really difficult time, and whenever I feel lost and kind of in this vulnerable state, I always pick up this book called The Rhythm of Life. I've had it with me on my bookshelf for almost 10 years, and whenever I find myself kind of in these periods of transition, I always grab it. So I picked it up and I started reading it again for the 4th time. And in the book, the author, Matthew Kelly, he talks about a really powerful instrument that we can use in our life, and that is silence, and how as a culture we are filled with so much noise between Netflix and Instagram and Facebook and all of the different things that we have coming at us from all angles. It can be really hard to actually find a moment of quiet to just be with ourselves, to think and to reflect. And he just talks about how we can really use this as a tool to transform our lives. And so let me just tell you really quickly how this video is gonna work. In the very beginning of this video, I'm gonna share a little bit about my recent experience with silence and how it's really transformed and changed me as a person. And then I'm gonna talk about why we need silence and kind of maybe give you a little persuasive tips and reasons why you might want to think about adding this into your daily routine. And then we're going to end the video with just some practical ways that you can incorporate it in your daily life, especially if you're a mom or if you're busy, just some practical tips and tools of how you can actually make this a part of your life. So if you are interested to see the power and the transformativeness of silence, then keep watching. All right, so as I said, I've been going through a really difficult time, and so this book talks about why we need to be making silence a priority in our lives. And so I kind of did an experiment. I said, you know what, I don't have control over a lot of areas in my life right now. A lot of my life just seems very out of control. But the one thing that I know I can do is I can push aside and create space for silence every day. And so I did, I committed to it. I woke up at 7 o'clock every day for the past couple of weeks, and I set a whole hour aside to just have silence. Now, I'm not talking about quiet, especially if you're a mom or if you're busy. We know that noise is inevitable, okay? Whether it's the birds outside or, you know, your child running to ask you a question or just the sound of nature or whatever it is, noise is inevitable. But silence is about creating the time and the space to quiet your mind and your thinking. And so what I did is every day at 7 a.m. I went outside in my back patio. I woke up before everybody else in my household, and I would just sit outside. Some of the days I would crack open a book. I was reading The Rhythm of Life, so I would crack open that book. But the way that I would read it would be slower. It was more intentional. It was more thoughtful. I would allow the words to just kind of resonate with me. I would reflect on them. Maybe I would journal or I would pray. And I would just take this time for myself to just get to know who I am, to address the questions that were going on inside of me, and just to be with myself. And over these past 3 weeks, wow, like it has truly just like pushed me to think about life and to think about what I want, my dreams and my brands. And so actually a lot of this is why I have kind of decided to redo a lot of my content, to rebrand myself. So that's just my personal experience with silence over the past couple of weeks. It's really transformed me. But I want to talk beyond that and kind of share with you why we need silence in our lives, and kind of talk to you a little bit about the difference between meditation and actual silence. So there's a movement right now for self-care. Like that's why I decided to name the series Self-Care for the Soul, because all of us, I think, want to give ourselves the attention that we deserve. I think we want to grow and change as people. I think that's why we find those things so attractive, whether it be wellness habits or beauty routines. I think we want to better ourselves. And I think at the heart of what we need as people is we search for peace. And I think that's why a lot of us are drawn to yoga and meditation, is because it's a way for us to step out of that anxiety and that stress and to find that escape, and to find that momentary peace or that momentary calm and pause. And so why can't we just meditate? You might be asking, well, I do 10 minutes of meditation every day, or I do 15 minutes of meditation every day. Is that enough? And I want to talk to you about the difference between meditation and silence. So meditation at the root, and there's nothing wrong with meditation. If it's something that you do, then you can of course continue to keep it as a part of your daily routine. But I want to give you the example that meditation is more of an escape. If you think about it, if you close your eyes and you take 10 minutes to meditate, you are genuinely pushing out all of the external thoughts. You're trying to avoid certain things in your head, and you're trying to just quiet yourself. But usually when we come from this meditative state, we're kind of jumped back into reality. We have to face a lot of the different things in our lives again, and we kind of jump back into a place of stress and anxiety, and we usually lose that peace that we had just gained from that little moment of meditation. Whereas silence is more like a classroom. We learn so much in silence, and it's not just this thing where we escape and then we're thrown back into the world, but we actually can learn and reflect and grow through that experience, and actually take the things that we learn from that state and apply it to our lives, and actually continue throughout the day with a state of calm and with a state of peace. So that's kind of the difference. Is more of meditation is more of like a quick fix, whereas silence is more of a journey. It's more of, like I said, a classroom, an educative state where we can learn and reflect on ourselves. So why do we need it? Well, the truth is, I know for me and you, like before quarantine happened, when you're going and going and going and there's noise everywhere, when was the last time that you just asked yourself if you were happy doing what you were doing, if you even liked your job, or you even liked the town that you lived in, or if you were happy with just your life in general? If we don't take time to stop and to pause, then we can't ask ourselves these questions. And if we don't ask ourselves these questions, then we're never gonna find the answer. And then we're gonna continue through this potentially mediocre, unhappy life. And I think, why do we avoid silence? Well, we avoid silence because it's scary, it's uncomfortable, because we know that we're gonna be faced with these questions that we don't wanna face. But I think that's why I wanted to do this series, is because if we're truly to grow and to change and to become better people, then we have to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. We have to take that time. So in the short, why do we need silence? We need silence to have peace. I think that is the true thing that we gain from silence, is we gain peace. And I think at the root of human beings, like that, we search for that. We search for that in the depths of our soul. I think we look for peace in so many different ways. And so in silence, we can gain self-knowledge, we can gain reflection, we can get clarity, we can gain answers on questions that we have, whether that's about our careers, about moves that we want to make in the future, or just to get to know who we are. We need silence to know ourselves. So if we enter into this place of silence every day, if we go to the classroom of silence every day, then we're going to not only get peace and guidance, but we're also going to discover who we are and also just gain strength. So those are just some of the things that you can gain through daily silence. Let's go ahead and jump into some ways that we can actually incorporate this into our daily routine, and ways that we can actually make this a habit. So I want you guys to think about silence as a practice. Just as we talk about yoga as a practice or meditation as a practice, it takes work, it takes commitment, it takes time. And if you've ever been a part of a sport or a music or just a group in general, we know that if you go to a practice, sometimes practices can be hard. Maybe your coach has made you run lap after lap and you leave practice and you're exhausted and you're tired. But if you keep showing up to that practice, you gain strength, you gain courage, you gain confidence in yourself, and you keep showing up, you're gonna get stronger and you're gonna get more comfortable. Maybe you'll make friends. Silence is the same way. If we continue to give it the attention that it needs, then we're gonna get more comfortable in it. Of course, the first time that we enter this space of silence, we're gonna feel really uncomfortable, or you might not really know what to do with the time, and that's okay. But I encourage you, if you just keep showing up, then it's gonna get more comfortable. So how can we go about doing this in our daily lives? Well, like I said at the beginning of the video, how I've personally been incorporating it into my life is I've been waking up before anybody else. So if you're a mom or if you have a busy household, then I definitely encourage you to just wake up a little earlier. And if an hour is a lot for you, I understand. Even just waking up 15, 30 minutes earlier just to create this space for yourself is so well worth it. If you think about it, just going to bed maybe 15 minutes earlier than you usually do, it might be weird, like I said at first, but I promise you, you are gonna grow to crave this time, especially like I said, if you are a mom or if you're busy, you are going to learn to really appreciate this time of alone and this time of quiet. So like I said, first way is of course to do it at the very beginning of your day, the start of your day, or of course you can do it at the end of your day while all of your kids are asleep. You can take that time, go to bed a little bit earlier than your husband. But there's also a lot of different ways that you can do this time of silence. Silence is also like dating. You kind of have to keep it fresh and fun. You don't go on the same date every single time with your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband. You don't go to the same restaurant. You try new things, you experiment. Think of silence and the practice of silence the very same way. So sometimes I will just sit there and I will pray, or I will reflect, or I'll ask myself questions, but you can also journal. You can take a moment to actually physically ask yourself questions and take the time to answer it in a notebook. You can read spiritual readings. You can read books that make you want to be better. Like I said, during that hour of silence the past couple of weeks, I was reading this book, but I really pondered over the words. I reflected on the words. I didn't try to breeze through every page as fast as I could, but I gave it the time that it deserved. So of course, spiritual reading, journaling, but also going out into nature. Take this time to be by yourself and go on a walk every day. Maybe the idea of sitting in a chair and doing absolutely nothing is just out of the question for you. Well, take that time to go for a walk in your neighborhood. But don't put your headphones in. Don't throw on that audiobook. Don't throw on your Spotify account. Just quiet yourself and be in silence. So whether you're just walking around your neighborhood, maybe you just want to sit by a quiet pond, or maybe you want to wake up and go to the beach, watch the sunrise and sit with yourself then. There are so many different ways that you can enter this classroom of silence. So be creative with it. Like I said, with journaling, reading, going for a walk in nature around your neighborhood, sitting by a quiet lake, sitting at the top of a mountain. Do what feels natural and right for you. Try different things, experiment, but just make the time for it. So whether that's just 15 minutes before bed, 30 minutes in the morning before you wake up, I encourage you to make this a daily habit. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you found it to be fruitful and helpful. And please forgive me if this is a little bit rambly and mumbly. This is the first time that I've kind of done a video like this that's a little bit more conversational. I will hopefully get better at it. So if you like these type of videos, if you are into the idea of creating a more intentional life that's all about your whole personhood, where we can talk about the fun and the frivolous things like fashion, makeup, home decor, and also just talk about more meaningful topics as well, then I would really love to have you as a subscriber. Like I said, I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, so it would mean a lot to me. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.